Hey there, Cooking with Otis, and we're back. So, this new episode, it's going to be pretty good. So, stay tuned, take a look, and tell me what you think. Before we get into the video and the t-shirt winner, wanted to give a shout out to Buckeye Quality Meats. Buckeye Quality Meats down in Streetsboro. Go check them out. Great venue. They do their own cooking outside on Fridays and Saturdays. And inside the store, this butcher shop is amazing. They have all kinds of meats, fish, lunch meats, deli, frozen goods, spices, frozen goods, wines, beer. They have any kind of spice you can think of, all kinds of frozen goodies, meats, meatballs, lunch meat, deli, all that good stuff, all types of sauces, and oh yes, even for the canines, they have special treats as well. Okay, to start my process, I go ahead and I cold wash all my racks in cold water. I get off any extra blood, bone fragments from when the butcher cut the ribs, anything that's loose and hanging. I just wash it all off, get it nice and cold washed, clean. And the next step is to get the membrane. Okay, so basically after I cold rinse the rack off, I'm going to go ahead and take this membrane off. And what the membrane looks like is a thin film or shiny silvery piece across the back or the bones of your meat. And as you can see right here, that's what it looks like over the muscle. And basically I've got a piece started, and I take my handy paper towel. You're gonna grab the actual membrane with the paper towel, and it makes it a lot easier. So here we go. Take the membrane with the paper towel, go ahead and peel it on back. Take your time. And, unfortunately, this rack was scored down the middle, so it's going to come off in halves. But you peel it all the way back and peel it all the way off. And that's the membrane, the most important part to get off the back of your ribs. So when somebody bites into it, they're not biting into the tough part. And I'm going to go ahead and take care of this other side and do the rest of these racks, and I'll get back to you. Okay. So all 5 racks are done. All the membranes are off. And basically what it should look like is something like this, where something's been ripped off the back, or you're seeing, it looks like muscle. But basically that's what you want to have. You want to make sure you get all the membrane off as much as you can. So, somebody comes over or eats your ribs, they're not biting in or peeling off tough rubbery stuff. From here, the next step is to put on your dry rub. And I'm going to show you what I do next and what I use as far as my dry rub. Okay, so what I use as a rub, or what I rub onto my ribs, keep it real simple. I don't want too many flavors to overpower the meat and the smoke. But what I use first is a meat tenderizer. I like to use something more granulated, it's non-salt or unseasoned. But what my sister has here, because I'm in the process of moving, is a powdery form of meat tenderizer. Still works the same. I sprinkle it on over both sides of the rack. And the reasoning behind that is to any tough areas or anything like that, it softens them up. Then I use Dave's Famous Rib Rub. I sprinkle that generously, let it sit on one side. I add my Oak Ridge Sweet Dominator Rib, or Sweet Rib Rub as well. And I let it sit for a few seconds to get into the meat, and then I do another light coat or dusting of the rib rub over it again, and then I rub it into the meat, flip it over, and do the same thing for the other side. I start with the bone side up first, and then I end on the meat side. But that's what I use for my ribs. Okay, so I got a different meat tenderizer because I ran out of the other one. So I take my meat tenderizer, unseasoned, and Sprinkle it very generously. It's unseasoned, but it takes care of the tough parts of the meat. And I get up in here, on here, just like that. That's the meat tenderizer. And then I hit it with the Dave's Famous Rib Rub. Oops, a little too much up there, but it's fine. Make sure I get my edges. Dusting. Edges over here. Edges over here. Yes, my hands are clean for my buddy Mario. And then I use an extra shaker with the Oak Ridge Sweet Dominator rub. And I get that out here going. Now, you don't want to overdo it because you don't want your ribs coming out salty. And that's what I do. And then I take my hand, mat it in. Use both hands for the camera purposes. And then I go ahead and flip. And I don't have my Cooking with Otis cutting board, but this is a makeshift. And again, meat tenderizer. On the meaty side, you really don't have to do. I get in the fat parts, make sure I hit those. And a little hard coming out when it's a fresh bottle, but you get the idea. It's unseasoned. It just attacks the hard portions of the meat, the tough parts. Dave's Rib Rub. There you go. Dave's Rib Rub, Sweet Dominator Rub, dusting. Middle, edges. This isn't going so smoothly like it normally does, but it's okay. And there you have it. And then that'll go into a pan and sit while I do the other four. And I'll get back to you guys in a minute. So there you have it, all 5 racks seasoned and done. And this is what they look like when I'm done with them, front and back, meat side and bone side. Reddish color, reddish tint to them, and it's all well seasoned. Thanks again for all my seasoning companies. And on to the fire, so I'll show you how I do my fire. Okay. All right, I am cooking again, out traveling. I'm not at home, and I don't have my proper Cooking with Otis equipment and grill. But what I am using is a barrel type grill with no offset. So the offset is the mechanism on the side, or the smaller barrel on the side to put wood or whatever if you want to smoke. I picked this all up from Home Depot. I'm using the Royal Oak Lump Hardwood Charcoal and their Embers by Royal Oak Charcoal Briquettes. And I use a chimney instead of starting my fire with lighter fluid. And I found these in Home Depot, which are these. Are basically little sticks, ignition sticks or igniter sticks. You go ahead and light those in the chimney and get the fire going. So I'm gonna get the fire going and I'll be right back. Okay, I just put the coals in from the chimney. Chimney got the fire started really good. For this cook, I'm actually using a barrel and I'm gonna use charcoal instead of wood. But here's what I do. So in here I have a water pan. where I'm gonna place my meat on this side. So the evaporation or steam from the water, I have a little bit of apple cider vinegar in that. That will actually create some steam to keep the meat moist. And I put all my coals or my fire on one side because this is what I have to cook with right now. And then I use a little bit of vegetable oil, oil the grates, make sure they're black and meat won't stick to them. And we want to get the chamber to about roughly 250, 275 for a slow cook. This is going to be a 5-hour cook for these ribs. So that's what I'm doing. I'll check back in with you after I get the ribs on. All right, so we got the meat on and we got it around the fire around 250. And what happens is out of the 5 racks, I can only cook 3 because I don't have an offset to put my fire in to smoke the actual chamber. So I'm doing it this way, which is I try and find the meatiest part of the meat to keep it closer to the fire. And what happens is we leave our meat here for an hour. We close the barrel and go away for an hour and let it cook. And then we'll come back after an hour. And then I will probably flip these around so we won't have any burnt ends. And that's how I'm gonna cook it. So stay tuned. Okay, so we've been maintaining around 275, 250. And it's been an hour. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look. And this is what they're looking like so far. And what I do after the first hour is I spritz them with a little bit of apple cider vinegar water mix. It's a 2-to-1 mix ratio, 2 parts water, 1 part or half part apple cider vinegar. And I just go ahead and spritz them down. And what I may do right now is I'm gonna go ahead and turn these ends over here, flip them. So now that these ends can cook, so these ends don't overcook. And that's it. And then after this, we go for 30 minutes. And then after 30 minutes, I'll show you what I do. So remember, this has been the hour. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. Now I'm gonna show you what I do after the 30-minute mark. So we go ahead and open up. I added a little bit more coals, my fire was going down. One thing to remember is do not panic if your fire goes down and you lose a lot of temperature. If you panic and put too much charcoal on, you're gonna spike the heat way too much and burn your meat. So just take your time, add little by little. So after getting back to this, after 30 minutes, I go through and I spritz them. Get them nice and wet. Don't overdo it because the apple cider vinegar will turn your meat acidic. Then I use unsalted butter. I cut little pads off a brick of unsalted butter, and then I go ahead and apply them. So I do this. And this is what it looks like. I add the pads of butter, and then I'll close the lid for 30 minutes, and I'll come back and do it again. You're gonna do this 3 times. So this is the first time, 30 minutes, do it again, 30 minutes, do it again, and then you're done. And then I'll let you know what I'll do after that. So gonna close it 30 minutes, and then after I do the total of 90 minutes of doing this, I'll come back and let you guys know what I do next. Okay, still maintaining temp. It's time to pull them off. I've done the 30 minutes, spritz and butter, 30 minutes again, spritz and butter, and the final time spritz. You can do spritz and butter, but I put a lot of butter, so I don't want too much of butter. And so now I'm done with the 30 minutes. Now it's time to take them off and wrap them. And let's take a look. And this is what we're looking at. All right, so now it's time to take them off, and I'll take you inside to show you how I wrap them. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is take these and wrap them. And what I do is I use honey, which I heated it up a little bit too. And it was in the microwave too long. So now it's hot and kind of watery, but that's fine. And then what I'll use is a little brown sugar. So I take a piece of foil, a heavy duty foil that's the length of the rack, and I go ahead and squirt out some honey, and then I sprinkle in brown sugar, and then I lay the rack down, meat side down, into the honey and brown sugar, and then I wrap it. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Just to show you, I've actually laid it down, meat side down, bone side up, onto the honey and brown sugar, and now I go ahead and wrap, and this is what it looks like when I'm finished wrapping. Make sure when you wrap up, sort of like that. I'm using one hand. You wrap up, and then you wrap the ends up, hold it down, wrap the ends up, and then wrap each end up. So if the juices spill out, they won't spill out into your grill. They'll spill out into the, well, it'll be watery in the foil, and the foil will catch all the drippage. Let me go ahead and wrap this. So you wrap, and then I fold up. That way no juice runs into your grill. Now it's wrapped, and then we'll put these back on the grill. Be right back. Still maintaining temperature, and this is how I put them on. Fire's still going, and then we'll put them on, and then they'll stay just like that. The meat side and the honey is underneath here, so it'll cook up into the foil or into the meat. And we leave this on for about an hour. After an hour, we'll unwrap them on the grill and go ahead and sauce them up. I'll see you then, 1 hour. Okay, starting to get a little dark, but it's been an hour, and it's time to take them off. Actually unwrap them and start basting. So it's been an hour, so no juice is spilled, and when you start unwrapping, you're gonna get a lot of steam, so be careful. And oh wow, they're gonna fall off the bone. So that's it. Wow, they are gonna fall off the bone. So I'll unwrap these and start basting. I usually pour the honey and brown sugar juice into the water underneath. That way you don't mess up your grill as well. I'll show you what I'm done basting. Okay. First coat is very generous, and put it on, close the lid for 15 minutes, do it again, another 15 minutes, baste again, final base, 15 minutes, good and sticky, take them off, let them rest, you're good to go. So I'm gonna do that and then take them off, and then we'll cut them tomorrow. But that's basically what I do for the ribs. Now you know, tell me what you think, and we'll get into some other things right now. So there you have it, the 5-hour cook. So if you got any questions, let me know. But you know what? It's time to pick a winner for the t-shirt contest giveaway. So I had 18 comments on various videos, on the various 2 videos that I posted. So we're gonna go ahead and pick three winners for t-shirts. So here we go. Let's go ahead and pick these winners and see who wins. Congratulations to all the winners. Jenny, Lee, and Nina. Nina, you won. So if you hung out this far, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I wanted to give a detailed video of how I do my ribs. Go ahead and in the comments, hit me up, subscribe, like, and I'll try and return or answer any comment that comes about. So thanks for watching. Tune in again. We're going to be doing some other things, some special stuff, and thank you for watching.